So it's actually also a revenue source for many people.
So George, starting off with financing solar energy, can you talk us through some of the running costs?
Sure. So the basic finances of it are that the end users, the families, the consumers are spending generally between $10 and $15 per month on kerosene. So those are considered to be their energy costs. Now in East Africa and Kenya, you're looking at 70% of the population which is off-grid. In Uganda, that's 93% of the population which is off-grid. So the vast majority of the populations are spending, as I say, between $10 to $15 per month. So that's the money which they can apply towards their energy needs. So most of these families are using small solar units. They can, on the smaller end, it's going to be a torch. On the larger end, it will be full solar home systems. And then the financing for that will be paid out through loans over up to 2 years, depending on it. We are seeing less right now on the small business financing. So the products are there in the solar, and that can be developed, but there has been less financing for it. So you're seeing less businesses enter into it. But I think that'll be a growing niche in these next few years, and there'll be space for solar companies to be marketing and selling units of sort of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, replacing these diesel systems which many businesses are using.
Great, and you mentioned the monthly finances there, so does microfinance help with these payments?
You would think it would, and in some cases there are some microfinance organizations which are financing for solar. They tend to be really on the small end of it. Again, these torches, the flashlights, but there's been very little activity from the MFIs into the solar home systems. It's been a challenge for the MFIs for their lending methodologies. Most of these solar home systems are being paid for through SMS, through M-Pesa in Kenya, and not all the MFIs have that yet. There's also been a challenge for the MFIs who are working through group lending methodologies. And the solar units are obviously sold to individuals, and some individuals may want it and others may not, or might not be ready for it at that time. And that's been a challenge for the microfinance institutions' lending methodologies. So as the industry has really developed, actually this lack of the end user financing was a break for it for some years, and some solar companies had to begin lending off of their own balance sheet, and it was very difficult for them to develop that end user financing, which was really was able to open up this market, which is really a market worth billions and billions of dollars.
Wow, that's really surprising. So can you talk us through some of the client financing?
Sure. So looking at the client financing, as I said, there'll generally be monthly financing. So, and they'll go up to 18 months and 2 years. The payments typically will be made, there will be a down payment. People will come in and they'll pay 15 to 20%, particularly on the larger units, the units which are looking at $150, $200, and certainly over $200. The clients will need to put that money down. After that, they'll be paying, as I say, through their SMS messaging, and they'll buy essentially 2 or 3, 4 days of electricity, and then when they get some more cash, they'll be paying again another 3, 4 days or 2 days, depending on how much cash they have. It's also interesting to note that most of these solar units, they have a USB port in them. And you will find in many of these, in the poorer communities, they will be using them as phone chargers, and that's a source of income for them. So their neighbors who don't have the solar units, instead of walking 2 kilometers over to the next village to charge it at the restaurant or wherever they can charge it, they will go to their neighbor's house and they'll pay their neighbor a small fee for charging their cell phone. So it's actually also a revenue source for many people.
It's really amazing. So what role does Venture South play in all of this?
So our role is a financer, is the end user financer. And we were called in actually by one of a mutual investor who's invested with us and who's invested with a solar company. And the solar company was having difficulty with the end user financing. There was nobody there to provide that capital, and so they were lending off of their own balance sheet. And that in turn was then using up their working capital, the capital that they needed to buy new materials materials to sell to the public, they had to use to sell to the end users. And they asked us to come in because the relationship with the microfinance institutions wasn't working. And so our role is, as I say, is to come in and to be that financer. So we're helping to raise capital, and then we're managing that loan portfolio. The end user relationship is remaining with the solar company because they want to maintain an ongoing relationship with the consumer. They have ongoing energy agreements to service the solar units as they go, and they also hope that as the consumer pays off their first loan of $100 or $200, whatever it might be, that they will add on. The units are modulable, and so they can add on another panel, and that will allow them to get additional lighting or a refrigerator or a television, whatever the family may need. And so they want to maintain that ongoing relationship. And so what we're doing is we're buying out that portfolio, and then we're able to monitor each loan individually electronically.
Fantastic. Well, George, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's all for myself and George, but if you did like this video, do like and comment on dukascopy.tv.